A great finish for Tony, getting his first Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1 at the start of the second half. Brentford taking the lead on 7 minutes through Ivan Toney after a corner kick was headed out towards the right-hand edge of the penalty area. Sergi Canos played a ball in, which was backheeled by Janssen and finished first time by Toney. But then Villa responding quickly, getting an equaliser 6 minutes later after a lovely 1-2 between Anwar El Ghazi and Danny Ings on the left-hand side. As Villa looked, the ball was played into Emiliano Buendia. Quick spin around from Buendia and a strike into the bottom corner. But the ball past David Raya before he could really respond. Brentford are guilty of some slack defending with that goal, but it was a great finish from Buendia. Villa then went on a real long spell of possession where they really looked like they were going to take the lead. Brentford had a couple of half chances themselves towards the end of the half, so it's poised very nicely here for the second half. And there are no changes, so Emiliano Martinez is in goal for Aston Villa. A back four of Matt Cash, Ezri Konza, Axel Tuanzebe and Matt Target. Two holder midfielders, Douglas Luiz and Carney Chukwuemeka. The three ahead of them are Anwar El Ghazi, Emiliano Buendia and Ashley Young, with Danny Ings as the front man for Brentford. David Raya is in goal. Back three of Christopher Ager, Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock. The four across the middle are Sergi Canos, Christian Norgard, Vitaly Janelt and Rico Henry. The three up front are Sam Godos, Brian Mbuemo and Ivan Toney. Is the Bees in possession at the edge of their own penalty area, with Pinnock now going back towards Raya. And Janssen now bringing the ball out for Brentford. Villa, I think, would have been frustrated. They had a real spell when they scored that equaliser. They won a real high. I just felt as though Villa perhaps could have just pushed at Brentford a little bit more. There are some frailties in this Brentford defence, but despite the fact the Bees haven't conceded in their first two games of the season, winning 2-0 against Arsenal, drawing 0-0 away at Palace. But Palace hit the post and had a couple of other good chances. Really, a team in slightly better scoring form, I think, would have had a better chance against Brentford on that afternoon. But Palace so far goalless again this afternoon. They're a goal down away to West Ham. Pablo Fornals with the goal for West Ham on 39 minutes. Just to confirm as well, the goal scorer for Norwich, it was Timu Pukki from the penalty spot that made it 1-1. So Newcastle-Southampton is the only game that is still goalless. It's Brighton 0, Everton 1, Newcastle 0, Southampton 0, Norwich 1, Leicester City 1, West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 0. Those are the scores across the 3 o'clock kickoffs. And there must have been quite a lot of injury time at Carrow Road, because they haven't started the second half there yet. But here come Villa now down the right-hand side, and Cash puts a ball in, which was aimed at Danny Ings. Rico Henry got across and put a challenge in as well, and Cash goes down. Ball ends up with goalkeeper Raya. Now it's with Brian Mbuemo on the halfway line for Brentford. Just holds it up, goes back towards Ethan Pinnock. Square now to Vitaly Janelt over towards the left-hand side. Here is Henry. Pressure there on Janelt from Chukwuemeka and Douglas Luiz. Villa don't want to make it too easy here for Brentford to play out from the back. Ager over on the right-hand side now. Back in towards Janssen. Ager under pressure. Back towards his own goalkeeper Raya, who's been having to hurry there with Ings getting close to him. Ball now cleared out for a throw. It's a deflection off target along the way, so it will be a throw to Brentford. But after the bright start from Brentford in the first half, it just felt as though Villa got a bit of a reminder, bit of a warning shot with that goal, and they really did make it difficult for Brentford to play after that. But they're trying the long ball approach this time, with a ball from Canos over towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Cash just gets there ahead of Mbuemo, and then Cash does well to deflect that ball off Brian Mbuemo and out for a goal kick. So a chance now for Villa to try and play out from the back. And I'm interested to see just how Villa approach this second half, because as we saw in the first, bright start here from the visitors, trying to make it as hard as possible for Villa to come out from the back. But they've played it short here. Martinez to Konza. He's been closed down straight away by Mbuemo. Toney was close by as well, so the goalkeeper clears this towards the halfway line. Chukwuemeka takes it down, leaves it for El Ghazi, and then he plays it back towards Target, whose ball for Chukwuemeka was the right side there. Just a little bit too much pace for Chukwuemeka to control that, and Christopher Ager is off down the right-hand side, gets tripped, and this is going to be a yellow card as well. couple of the Villa players unhappy with the decision, but it is Anwar El Ghazi who picks up the booking. And I think the reason he does it is because there is a bit of a cynical attempt to trip up the man. Doesn't make too much contact with Ajer, but it doesn't really matter. He is trying to stop Ajer getting away from him. It's a silly yellow card, really, when you consider that Ajer had 5 or 6 Villa players stood in front of him. So it's not like El Ghazi was stopping a counter-attack or anything like that. It seems like a bit of a free yellow card for El Ghazi there. He shouldn't have got himself involved with that one. But I do also see a couple of the Villa players' points when they say it really was a very soft free kick. There wasn't too much contact, but it was the intent. It was the fact that El Ghazi made no attempt to play the ball. Ajer now hooks a long ball up in the air, headed on by Rico Henry, and Mbeumo chasing this one. And Cash gets himself tangled up, and then Mbeumo rushes the shot completely. I think he was almost half expecting a whistle there from the referee. It was Cash who just got himself into a bit of a tangle at the edge of his own box, and he lost the ball a little bit too easily there. Tried to hold it up when he could have just played it back, and then Mbeumo unnecessarily just played a very early ball. I'm not even sure if that was a shot. It might have just been an early pass from Mbeumo there, but in any case, there was no chance of Toney getting on the end of that one. And there's going to be a booking here for Ivan Toney now. We were just getting a replay of that Brentford half chance, and at the other end we can see that Toney there trips up Carney Chukwuemeka, and almost a carbon copy of the foul that we just saw from Anwar El Ghazi. So for consistency's sake, referee of course can't let that one go. Toney's going to get a booking here as well. And a free kick to Villa, 52 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Villa Park, 1-1 between Villa and Brentford. Target now with this free kick, plays it long towards the edge of the area, aimed at Ezri Konza. The loose ball drops to Matt Cash, who tries to fire it back towards the penalty area, gets away from Tuan Zabi. Now a chance here for Brentford to go on the counter. They've got 3-on-3. If that ball gets through to Mbeumo, it just slows the attack down. The pass from Canos was a little bit short, but Brentford still have numbers forward here as Norgard presses forward. He finds Canos down the right hand side, puts the ball onto his left foot, gets a cross in, which is headed towards the edge of the area, headed up in the air by Ashley Young. And then Janel tries to get a head across towards Mbeumo, but that one is volleyed clear by Matt Cash. And then a combination of Pinnock and Janssen deal with that one, as certainly Danny Ings was trying to get on the end of the ball, but it's now picked up by Christian Norgard. Back to Vitaly Janel, and now Brentford in possession here, looking to try and just hold the ball up. And this, again, it's still been a good start here from Brentford. Villa have seen less of the ball in these first 8 minutes. And it's now with Rico Henry. His cross into the area is overhit. No chance for Toney to get on the end of that one. And it will be out for a throw to Villa down the left-hand side. As we see there, Henry looked up. There's no chance of Toney getting on the end of that one. It was completely overhit. Toney did collide with Tuan Zabi inside the penalty area as well. I do wonder what the referee would have done if that move. In fact, there has been given as a free kick in the end. Referee deciding that was a collision there that Ivan Toney had generated. He would argue that he was just looking to get on the end of the ball, but it's Martinez now taking this free kick for Villa. Good header there from Pinnock, beating Danny Ings to it. Douglas Luiz now picks up the loose ball, goes back towards Matt Targett. Targett's ball down the left-hand side here, looking for Danny Ings. That one is put out by Pontus Jansson. For a throw taken quickly. El Ghazi now heading towards the penalty area, finds Danny Ings in a bit of space. Ings tries to play it square. Young was waiting to shoot, but that one is cleared, only partially cleared though. And El Ghazi and Target still keeping the move alive here for Villa down the left hand side. The cross in is charged down by Sam Godos, and it is out for a throw to Villa. Target waiting to take this one. He's got a couple of options here, Matt Target. One of them is the short ball to El Ghazi. Goes back to Target. Now El Ghazi taking on Christian Norgard. Gets past him, but can't beat the offside trap, which was there just beforehand. We could see both Brentford players there moving forward as that free kick was taken short. And the ball now back with David Raya. Camera once again focusing on Ollie Watkins, with Villa just perhaps needing a little bit of something extra in attack. May well be that the former Brentford man does get brought on at some stage this afternoon. Watkins, Philogene Badais, Nakamba, Archer, Ramsey, Hurahan, Gilbert, House and goalkeeper Steer on the bench for Villa this afternoon. For Brentford, it's Baptiste, Thompson, Visser, Jensen, Dervis-Soglu, Force, Stevens, Bidstrup, and goalkeeper Alvaro Fernandez. Those are the two benches for the two teams this afternoon, as Christopher Ager now clears the long ball, which almost works out like a good ball for Ivan Toney. It just drops a bit too close to the goalkeeper. Martinez is able to hook this away, but Sergi Canos picks up the loose ball, and he's through down the middle now. Canos heading towards the penalty area. He plays it square now for Rico Henry. Henry puts the ball in. He's appealing a handball. Referee says no, play on. Strike from Godos is charged down. Toney chasing the ball into the penalty area. And then it's with Emiliano Buendia, who's got his back towards the rest of his teammates, trying to play it back towards Ezri Konza. He was already stood about 5 yards from goal, and the ball is cleared towards the halfway line. And Brentford are back in possession here. They won themselves a throw. Wonder if we'll see a replay of that handball. I mean, it was a very quick appeal from Rico Henry. Didn't seem like many other Brentford players were interested in that one. It might have just been instinctive from Henry as he saw the ball go near the Villa player's hand. But so far the ball just went out for a quick throw and went straight back into play. So we've not seen a replay yet. We'd assume that VAR did check everything if they needed to. As Henry now trying to go down the left-hand side. He gets brought down, or he falls over as far as the referee is concerned. It was no foul. And the ball now played back towards Martinez. Villa keeper being closed down by Toney, clears it towards the halfway line. El Ghazi and Ager fighting for this one, and there's El Ghazi who brings the ball away, tries to feed it through towards Danny Ings. Just a little bit too much pace on the pass. But Ager got himself involved in a bit of a wrestling match with El Ghazi when he should have really been watching where the ball was going to drop. And it wasn't a bad idea from El Ghazi to try and get that ball through to Danny Ings. Just a little bit too much pace on the pass. But Villa win possession back very quickly. It's with Chukwuemeka. He goes back towards Douglas Luiz, and he then plays the ball out towards the left-hand side. Sergi Canos has been bumped into there by Matt Targett, and the referee is just saying that, I mean, Targett is saying that he was only looking for the ball, but Pontus Jansson there, the Brentford captain, is across. He feels that there might have been an elbow up. Sergi Canos is slowly picking himself up now. Let's just see, was it El Ghazi or was it indeed Targett? El Ghazi. Now, Anwar El Ghazi is on a yellow card. Is this enough for a second yellow? I don't think so. I think it's one of those where, had he not already been booked, he might have got his first yellow card for that, but I think he'd be quite unlucky for that to be a second yellow, particularly in what's supposed to be this new the new idea this season is the referees are supposed to be that a little bit more forgiving for a little bit of contact, shall we say, and perhaps not buying that every little bit of contact is going to lead to a free kick. It started with the Euros, didn't it? We saw the Euro Championships in June, where referees really did let a lot of small bits of contact go where previously you would have expected that to be free kicks. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it is a good thing that we're getting less of the referee's whistle, fewer cards, and of course from the new season VAR is supposed to be that a little bit more understanding as well, as in the pencil thin line for the offside is supposed to be that little bit thicker, and in terms of what's going to be deemed as a foul, as something to change the decision of the referee, it's just going to have to be that a little bit more significant, a little bit more obvious. But in the meantime, things have just slowed down here at Villa Park. 59 minutes gone, independent of Tube Studio commentary. It is 1-1 between Villa and Brentford. Goals going in elsewhere though. Palace have their first goal of the season, equalising at the London Stadium. It's Conor Gallagher with the goal for Palace. Everton have a 2-goal lead away at Brighton now. Damari Gray scored the first goal for Everton. It was a penalty that gave Everton a 2-goal lead. We'll confirm the goal scorer in just a moment. But here come Brentford now on the counter-attack. And it's Canos getting to the edge of the area. Canos selfishly shoots when he had two teammates to try and play it square to. Now it's a chance here for Villa to go on the counter-attack. Norgard with a great challenge. No, Norgard not with a great challenge. It's going to be a free kick and a yellow card. I thought he won the ball there, the Danish international. But referee Peter Banks has a different view of that. I'm not sure. We'll see from this angle, because this is the referee. Well, yeah, from that angle it doesn't look particularly good for Norgard. I have to say that it looks as though he's clipped El Ghazi with this challenge, and then El Ghazi's then played the ball forward. From the initial angle, I thought it might have been the fact that Norgard had got a clean challenge in that had played the ball away from El Ghazi. But Norgard becomes the third player in the book this afternoon. After Tony got his booking, El Ghazi got his booking on 52 minutes, and then Tony just a minute later. And now Christian Norgard becomes the third player in the book this afternoon. There have been 20 fouls in the game, Villa committing 8 and Brentford committing 12, as Villa's free kick is picked up now by Sergi Canos. It wasn't a particularly good ball out towards Matt Target. Sam Godos then trying to play it first time to Mbeumo, who gets past Matt Cash, and Cash brings him down. That's going to be a booking for Cash, and he knows it as well, because Mbeumo was going to get past him, and that's a yellow card that Matt Cash won't argue with. And it's also a yellow card that we happily take for the team, because if he doesn't stop Tony, it was a heavy touch from Cash in the first place. If he doesn't stop Mbeumo there, then that ball could get through to Tony, and then it would be one Villa defender against 2 Brentford forwards, which is not a good equation from the defence's point of view. So by giving that free kick away and picking up a yellow card, Cash averted the danger. And the free kick is a long way from goal. It's 35 yards, I would estimate, and I'm not too sure that we're going to see a strike here from Mbeumo. It is slightly over on the right-hand side, so it would favour the left footer if there is going to be a strike at goal. Sam Godos is there in discussion with Mbeumo as well. And Rico Henry is just behind those two. So between the three of them, 2 right footers and a left footer. In fact, Henry's walked away from it now, so it's either going to be the right foot of Godos or the left foot of Mbeumo. Villa have set up the offside line to be level with the edge of the D. So it's not going to be easy here for Brentford to get into the box while still being onside. Janssen and Ager are waiting right over on the left-hand side of the penalty area, but the ball is floated in by Godos looking for Tony. Too many Villa players tracking back. Tony unable to control that one, and Raya steps a long way out of his penalty area to put this out for a throw. And is it kept in by Godos? He heads it forward. It is kept in by Godos. That's well played, but he only manages to keep it in for Villa possession. But at least it means that his goalkeeper can run back and get into position. El Ghazi's off down the left-hand side, brought down by Canos. No foul. It was a clean challenge this time. And it's over on the left-hand side now with Rico Henry. Back towards Ethan Pinnock, being closed down by Danny Ings. And now Pontus Janssen also closed down by Ings. Ings doing loads of running here just to try and generate a mistake as Canos tries to backheel that ball towards his teammate down the right-hand side. It's put out for a throw by Matt Target. And it is going to be a throw to Brentford down the right-hand side. Meanwhile, Villa are going to make a change. It's going to be a midfield change here with Carney Chukwuemeka. Just a little bit more anonymous in this second half. He had a bright start to the game. I thought he saw a lot of the ball, but certainly since the start of the second half, I've not mentioned him as much. Hasn't been involved as much. So he is off to be replaced by Marvelous Nakamba, who's been flirting with the first team on a few occasions here, Nakamba. Still hasn't really been able to bed down, though, as a first team regular. Certainly, I'll take that back. He is a first team regular. Whether he's a first 11 regular, I think that's probably stretching it a little bit too much for Nakamba. He's certainly always in and around the squad. Gets quite a few starts and a few bench appearances. But I think he'll be looking to kick on a little bit more this season. The 27-year-old from Zimbabwe. Played 13 games, started 13 games for Villa last season. And so that's compared to 29 the season before, so we'll certainly be looking for an improvement. But here come Brentford now, down the left-hand side. Rico Henry chasing a long ball, heads it into the box, but a combination of Cash getting in his way and the goalkeeper Martinez coming out means that Aston Villa are able to avert the danger. The goalkeeper now waiting to play the ball out, but just to confirm as well, that second goal for Everton was scored from the penalty spot by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Second week in a row he's scored from the spot for the Toffee men. And now it's with Matt Target down the left-hand side, looking for the run of Danny Ings. David Raya again steps a long way out from his goal, but does so safely. He clears the ball into the Villa half, so there's no danger of him being beaten from the halfway line. But Brentford do lose the ball fairly quickly, though. Now a chance for Villa to press forward, and here is a chance for Emiliano Buendia. He runs straight into Vitali Janel, and then Janel is brought down as he tries to keep the ball. I'm not sure whether that was Buendia or Douglas Luiz. They've got the telling touch to bring the Brentford man down, but it is going to be a free kick now. Janel picks himself up. It's a square to Ager. It's with Janssen over towards the left-hand side. Janelt now, bringing that ball down towards Rico Henry. 65 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. It's 1-1 between Aston Villa and Brentford. It's Brighton 0, Everton 2. Newcastle 1, Southampton 0. We just have had a goal for Newcastle, scored by Callum Wilson. So Newcastle leading against Southampton by a goal to 0. It's Norwich 1, Leicester City 1, and it's West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. And just a small matter of Liverpool against Chelsea at 5:30 UK time this evening. That will also be available on our service. Meanwhile, Brentford are preparing to make their first change. It's going to be a forward change really here, with Sam Godos being replaced by Johan Visser. Visser made his first appearance for Brentford against Forest Green in the week, and he scored. So we'll certainly be looking to carry on that trend today. And he comes on for Sam Godos. Now, whether or not this is a swap where Visser will be playing behind the front two like Godos was, or indeed is he going to go into a more forward position and perhaps get Brian Mbuemo to drop a little bit deeper, that remains to be seen. To the player signed from Lorient is on the field now. We'll see what Visser can do here. We've got 24 minutes to go until the end of this game, and it's been played at a slightly slower pace, not quite as intense as we saw in the first half, but potentially a good chance here for Villa as they're off down the right-hand side. The referee was prepared to play an advantage initially, but then decided that Buendia was being stopped and he couldn't go forward. It's Visser who puts the challenge in. Buendia carried on his run. Visser then bumps into him again, and that ball doesn't reach Danny Ings. And so it will be a free kick to the home side. I don't think that Visser picked up a yellow card for that one. I'd say it'd be quite unlucky if he did. Only on the field for a few seconds. There wasn't too much into. I think he was trying to get the ball, albeit just a little bit late, perhaps just not quite up with the pace of the game, having come off the bench. But now it is going to be free kick to Villa down the right-hand side. Standing over this one is Emiliano Buendia. Now waiting to see where his teammates are inside the box. Fires one into the 6-yard box. It's headed out partially before it drops to Vitaly Janelt, who fires that ball a long way away, all the way towards the Villa penalty area. Matt Cash had stayed behind as the last man. He scoops that ball up and now plays it square to Nakamba. Over on the left-hand side now is Matt Targett. Target's ball into Douglas Luiz. Brentford appealing a handball. Referee doesn't give the handball, but Norgard cuts out the pass from Douglas Luiz. And then it's David Raya's clearance up towards the halfway line, headed on by Matt Cash. Loose ball drops here to Emiliano Buendia. Referee Peter Banks having to take evasive action there for that ball not to hit him. But it does get through to Anwar El Ghazi. El Ghazi puts it onto his right foot and he tries to send one towards the top corner. But it's rising too far in the end from El Ghazi. Never really looked like threatening. After he certainly when he struck it cleanly. We can now see from that replay that the ball was always just angling away from goal. David Raya now under pressure from Danny Ings, now square to left-hand side, and there's more space here for Henry this time as he crosses the halfway line, finds Johan Visser. Visser back towards Rico Henry, edge of the area now. Visser with his back to goal, having to leave this one for Vitaly Janelt. Now Christian Norgard trying to switch play over towards the right-hand side, looking for Canos. That's a good header out by Matt Targett. Out for a throw to Brentford. Looks like Canos is going to leave this one. We know that Ethan Pinnock is Brentford's long throw specialist, but the referee is just having a bit of a go now at Pontus Jansson, saying, look, it's fine that you can have a long throw specialist, but hurry up and take the long throw, because it's all taking just a little bit too long. And you can see some of the Villa players just making that point to the referee that Ethan Pinnock really is strolling towards this ball. Right in front of the Brentford fans. Lovely sunny afternoon at Villa Park. And we can see now Pinnock winding up for a long throw. It is a long throw aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. Good header away by Konza. Loose ball is headed away by El Ghazi, and now suddenly Villa have a chance of a counter because Danny Ings is off down the left-hand side. Brentford are trying to track back in numbers. It's a challenge from Canos, and then Visser gets his body in the way. Buendia is able to pick up the loose ball, carry on the attack. Ager then comes back, puts a challenge in. There are 2 Villa players down. Brentford are playing on, but they've cleared the ball out. I'm not sure that was intentional to put the ball out for the injuries, or whether it was just a bad pass that didn't reach its target. But in any case, it is out for a Villa throw down the left. And Danny Ings, that's a strong challenge there from Johan Visser. And then Christopher Ager with a bit of a knee into Emiliano Buendia as well. But certainly that's a challenge from Johan Visser. Looking at it live, I thought he was just jostling for position. But now, got to say that Danny Ings is well within his rights just to have a little bit of a frustrated look on his face, because looking at that replay, I think it's fair to say that he could have been fouled. Throw now to Villa down the left. Ball bounces here, trying to flick it on. There was Danny Ings. It goes straight out for another throw though. Jansen clearing this one for Brentford. It's with Matt Targett now down the left-hand side. Targett's ball in towards the right-hand side now for Matt Cash. Really has been a slowdown in terms of how Villa are playing right now. They're just not finding that sort of fluidity that we saw in the first half, although they are starting to see more of the ball again now, as it's a pass towards Danny Ings from Buendia. Oh, that was a good ball as well, and then Ings just leaves a bit of a foot in on Ager, brings him down, who's writhing around in pain. It's going to be a booking here for Danny Ings. Referee Peter Banks has sped up with the yellow cards in this second half, and Ings is I think Ings has got a point here. He's saying to the referee, the Brentford substitute has pretty much kneed me in the thigh and knocked me over, and you didn't even give a free kick in here. I've literally clipped the heel of a big defender who's hit the deck, and you've given me a yellow card for that. So I think that Danny Ings is well within his rights to feel a little bit aggrieved by referee Peter Banks' decisions in the last couple of minutes. And there's, I mean, as I said, I think the fall from Ager is worse than the challenge from Ings. That's what I would say. And considering that Ings really was brought down quite aggressively by Visser. Visser was trying to get to the ball. It wasn't like it was an intentional kick out at Ings, but sometimes, I mean, it just goes to show that even with referees being more clued up to sort of diving and contact, even with VAR, even with everything else, there are still certain situations where you can see sometimes in the space of just a couple of minutes that there is that lack of consistency, really. How Ings gets booked and Visser didn't even have a free kick given against him is a little bit strange, really. But the ball now is with David Raya. Clearance from Raya down the middle, headed up in the air by Tony. Ball bounces over the leg of Rico Henry, who then trying to hold on to the ball. He's been pushed over by Ezri Konza. Free kick to Brentford now down the left-hand side with just over 15 minutes to go. Ashley Young just trying to stop the free kick from being taken quickly. He's had a pretty quiet game, Ashley Young. I've not mentioned him too much. Not entirely sure that I mean, initially I had him down on paper as one of the attacking three. That's certainly not the case. He's been more in that midfield, really, and it almost looks as though Villa have got three across the middle with Nakamba, Louise and Young, and then they've got Buendia on one wing, El Ghazi on the other, and Ings playing through the middle. Initially in the first half I thought Chukwuemeka was going to be in that defensive midfield too, but he was more playing as a number 10 really, with Young playing just a little bit further back. In the meantime though, Brentford in possession but not going very far with it. Ball now back with Ethan Pinnock, crossing the halfway line, closed down there by Buendia. Still able to hold on to it though, Pinnock. His pass though down the right hand side wasn't particularly good, and now Matt Cash able to get this ball up towards the halfway line. That's good play though from Norgard to win it back. Norgard's ball then goes forward, but in the meantime there was a late challenge there on Ashley Young from Vitaly Janelt. And are we going to see our 6th yellow card of the afternoon? We are. It's 3 yellows all now on the field. Villa with 3 bookings. Brentford likewise. Cash, El Ghazi and Ings, the 3 players booked for Villa. Tony, Norgard and now Janelt are the 3 players. And Janelt there, I mean, he tries to get the ball, and he does get the ball, but I think the referee would argue that he's perhaps not done everything in his power to avoid that collision with Ashley Young. Young is one of these players that gets in the face of the referee, gets in the face of the opposition players, tends to be one of the louder voices on the field. So because of that, there's always a chance that somebody might just try to leave a little bit on him. But a free kick now for Villa. Long ball played towards the edge of the box, so over the head of Axel Tuanzebe. Header from Canos doesn't get too far away from the box. It's kept alive here by El Ghazi. Now it's Tuanzebe's ball into the box, headed away by Rico Henry. The ball will bounce as Visser still trying to fight to stop that from going out for a corner. But Buendia does well, gets his body in the way, and is able to allow that ball to go out for a corner kick. And Buendia himself waiting. By the way, Mohamed Elanusi has just equalised for Southampton at St James's Park. Newcastle United 1, Southampton 1. And so it's only Brighton-Everton. That is a game which isn't being drawn right now, because West Ham and Palace have both scored since I last checked. It's now 2-2. Mikhail Antonio had put West Ham 2-1 up on 68 minutes. But then just 2 minutes later, Conor Gallagher with his second goal of the afternoon. And he hit the post against Brentford last week again as well, Gallagher. So he's certainly been getting into attacking positions for Palace. Had a tough season, losing most of his games as a West Brom player, of course, but them getting relegated on loan from Palace, but making a great impression at the start of this season. We're getting back to action here at Villa Park. It's Villa on the attack, and it's Target's ball into the box, headed away, picked up in midfield now by Marvellous Nakamba, under pressure from Ivan Toney. Is forced to go back over towards the right-hand side. Buendia's ball is too close to goalkeeper David Raya. Stepped out there, Raya made a comfortable save, but in the meantime his fellow countryman Sergi Canos is down on the ground. It looks like he may have a left calf problem here, the Brentford number 7, so we'll wait to see whether or not the physio is going to be called on. And as I say, yes, so it's 1-1 between between Villa and Brentford. Brighton 0, Everton 2, Newcastle 1, Southampton 1, Norwich 1, Leicester 1, West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. Those are the 3 o'clock Premier League latest scores. Man City beating 10-man Arsenal 5-0 in the earlier game today. Still to come in just under an hour's time. We will see Liverpool against Chelsea from Anfield, and that game also available on our service. But with Sergi Canos being checked over, this gives both teams a chance to have a little impromptu drinks break, a little time out to have a quick word with their respective managers as well. As Canos still being checked over here. Say if you offered Brentford the draw now, I'm pretty sure they would take it. That's not to say they're being defeatist, but Villa are seeing more of the ball in attack. Brentford are away from home against a side who have looked solid in the Premier League last season. Will certainly be looking to kick on and do even better this season, Dean Smith's side. So I think with under 15 minutes to go, if you said to Brentford the game ends now, it's 1-1, but obviously you can't win it. I think Brentford would probably take that. I'm not sure if every Brentford fan would agree with that, but it's all about being pragmatic at this stage of the season. Bees play Brighton at home in their next game. They follow that with a trip to Wolves, and then there's that League Cup match against Oldham before they finish the month of September with a game at home to Liverpool. Whereas from Aston Villa's point of view, as I mentioned, away at Chelsea in their next game after the international break, then they play Everton at home, then they play Chelsea away in the League Cup before the end the month with the small matter of a trip to Old Trafford. Now there is going to be a change here for Aston Villa. Ashley Young is going off, and Ollie Watkins, man, Brentford signed from Exeter City as a winger, and then over 2 seasons converted him into a striker, and what a striker he's become. He's now a fully capped England striker who's scored for his country as well. And if you'd have said that 4 seasons ago when Watkins was being hunted by sort of mid-table championship teams like Brentford, I think it's quite incredible really how his career has turned around. Full credit to Watkins for his efforts, and now of course he'll be looking to do something against his former club here, as Ivan Toney clashes there with Marvellous Nakamba. Toney is on a booking, and the referee is sort of reassuring Ivan Toney, actually saying, look, I know you were looking at the ball there, that's a collision, which I still have to give as a foul, but there's never any danger of a yellow card. In fairness, Toney and Nakamba are stood there with their arms around each other, so I don't think there's any malice, although it is a raised foot there from Toney as he's trying to get on the end of this ball. But as he's raising his foot, Nakamba is putting his head down, and certainly it would have been a little bit worrying there for Nakamba, seeing Ivan Toney's boot going straight towards him, but in the end, no harm done, and no harm done between the two players either. As Brentford now getting ready to make a change, and is this Brian and Mbeumo going off? Looks like it will be. So with 10 minutes to go in this match, and Mbeumo is off, and it is going to be Matthias Jensen to replace him. So, Jensen is defensive midfielder, central midfielder really. I wouldn't say this is necessarily Brentford shutting up shop, but again, it is taking a forward off to bring on a midfielder. So it looks as though Thomas Frank is just trying to shore things up in midfield. Perhaps add an extra body in there with Ollie Watkins now on the field. Does mean that players like El Ghazi and Buendia have two targets to try and work for ahead of them. As the ball is now over towards El Ghazi, headed back by Sergi Canos towards his goalkeeper David Raya. And then rolls it out down the left-hand side. Clearance now from Pinnock. Ball heading towards the penalty area. Visser is chasing this one, and I think, well, now then, the referee has given a corner kick here, but Axel Tuanzebe is furious because he feels as though he was pushed, and as if to prove it, he's actually showed the referee that even his boot came off, which I'm not sure that's proof of you being fouled, that your boot comes off. Your boot can come off when you're running by yourself, but the point is that I did think there was a foul here from Visser. Well, not enough of a foul, having said that. I think there's a little bit of contact from Johan Visser, and I think Tuanzebe worried that the ball might just go out for a corner. Wanted to show the referee that he was fouled, but Peter Banks doesn't feel there was enough in the foul, so Brentford have a corner kick, and it's the first involvement in the game for a substitute Matthias Jensen. He's over on the left-hand side to whip this ball in. Puts a lot of height onto that one, and Pinnock rising. He barely glances at the ball, though. Doesn't get too much power on the header. There's a couple of bodies down in the box for Aston Villa. And specifically, it's Ezri Konza, who seems to be in a bit of trouble. Tuanzebe's taking a little bit longer to pick himself up as well. Just see from this replay as Jensen put the ball in. The two Villa players have actually hurt themselves there. Well, it looks as though Tony has just bumped into Matt Cash, who then fell into Ezri Konza, and Konza's the one a little bit worse for wear now. Cash has picked himself up. It looks as though Tuanzebe is going to be fine as well. As Dean Smith looks like he's preparing his final change of the afternoon. And, looking from this distance, can't quite make out who it is. I did see a 3 on the shirt, so I'm thinking it could potentially be Courtney House here. Just got a different camera angle now showing us the Villa manager rather than his bench. There's Craig Shakespeare, Dean Smith's assistants there, discussing things, working out how to try and get the 3 points in this match. We've got 7 minutes plus injury time to go. No change in the other scores. It's still Brighton 0, Everton 2, Newcastle 1, Southampton 1. Oh, in fact, I'll take it back. There has been a change. It's Norwich 1, Leicester City 2. Mark O'Brighton has made it 2-1, and I didn't even get a chance to finish those words. Norwich have just equalised to make it 2-2. So we'll confirm the second goal scorer for the Canaries, but that's good to see. A little bit of fight around Norwich. It's a club that's as I say, it's a club that's got a huge fan base just because of its geographical location. So there's always that expectation that Norwich are going to be almost too good for the Championship and not quite good enough for the Premier League. They need to find a division in between somewhere. But I'm sure that Daniel Farker has learned over the last 3 seasons, going up, going down, then going up again, how to get the best out of his players. But we can see it is Courtney House warming up for Villa. He did have his training top off and he was ready to come on. Now he's put his bib back on. He's doing a little bit more of a warm-up as this change is a little bit delayed now for Villa, only because Ezri Konza is still in some real pain there. So, of course, they can't afford to make a change and then find out that Konza can't go on, because the Premier League, being traditional, hasn't allowed for more substitutes this season. There was a suggestion that the rule from the COVID period and the pandemic period was going to continue, but there was a bit of resistance last year to clubs being allowed to make 5 changes on a permanent basis. And as I say, I've always been of the opinion there should be more substitutions. I think it just allows managers more options, and I don't really buy the argument that bigger teams would have an advantage. That's like saying that bigger teams have an advantage because their manager, their stadium and their players are better, so that means their bench is going to be better as well. On that basis you wouldn't play against anybody, would you? So it's as I say, but for the time being, no change. There will only be 3 substitutions per match per Premier League team this season, and as I say, it's taken a long time here for Ezri Konsa to be checked over. Still don't know for definite whether he can play on or not, so I'll wait to see whether or not he's going to come back on. But for the time being, Villa will be momentarily down to 10 men. As Emiliano Martinez now looking to restart play. 85 minutes gone, but it's more like 82 really. I think we're going to get at least 4 or 5 minutes of injury time at the end of this second half. And that target now down the left, that's a poor ball straight to Sergi Canos, and now Brentford can try and get forward here. Early ball from Vitaly Janelt out towards the left hand side. It's an early ball from Rico Henry as well to find Johan Visser. Visser steps inside, breaks into the penalty area, but it's a bit of a heavy touch from him. Ball just gets away from him, and then Douglas Luiz being hounded here by Vitaly Janelt. Just right into the corner of the field there. Clearance from Douglas Luiz. It stays in play. Headed forward though by Ethan Pinnock. The ball's still alive here for Brentford. Ivan Toney gets it back to Matthias Jensen. Jensen then finds Canos. Canos trying to get a shot away. It's again the wrong option. 3 or 4 times this afternoon Brentford players have shot towards goal when really they should have looked to try and play it square. And they've played it square this time, and it's a throw from Ager to find Jensen. His ball into the box is easily dealt with by the goalkeeper in the end. So Martinez now waiting once again for his teammates to get a bit further forward. Clearance now from the goalkeeper, looking for the right hand side, and Ollie Watkins. I don't think Watkins has had a touch of the ball since he's come on. And there's a bit of a collision there in midfield, and it's going to go the way of Brentford. Emiliano Buendia thumping the turf in frustration. It is going to be a change as Dean Smith is once again shouting towards his players on the field because he's getting ready to make a change here. It's not going to be Courtney House. It looks like it's going to be an enforced defensive change here. And Cameron Archer, originally from Walsall. Of course, Dean Smith managed Walsall in his time. But Cameron Desmond, a Villa youth product, he's getting ready to come on, the 19-year-old. It makes me feel very old to see players born after the year 2000 already getting on the field. But time flies, of course. And, well, Archer was ready to come on. Konsa sat down. Now Konsa stood up. And all of a sudden, Archer's sat down, and Courtney House is getting ready to come on again. So it's all a little bit confusing here. But I promise you, there was a period where where Cameron Archer was getting ready to come on because of the injury to Ezri Konsa. Now, I'm just wondering whether Dean Smith feels as though he can perhaps ask one of his central, maybe Nakamba, maybe Luiz, can just sit in that centre-back role for the last couple of minutes of this match to allow another forward to come on. But Ezri Konsa isn't going to be playing on it, that's for sure. He's coming off the field now. And wait to see whether Courtney House is going to be on to replace him. It is going to be Courtney House, so they were thinking about bringing on Archer, an attacking option to brighten things up in the last few minutes, but in the end it is going to have to be Courtney House to come on. So he's on. Brentford are going to make a change here as well for injury time, and it's going to be a swap in midfield with Vitaly Janelt on a yellow card as well. Just turns to applaud the travelling Brentford fans, and he's off for these last few minutes to be replaced by Shandon Baptiste. Baptiste signed from Oxford United. Leader international, born in Reading, is now on the field here for Brentford for the last few minutes. And it's a ball down the left-hand side, cleared away by Courtney House. Bounces over Ollie Watkins. I still haven't seen a touch from Ollie Watkins since he's come on. Now he's got a touch, beating Pontus Jansson to the ball, but he can't follow it up. And Brentford are now back in possession. All eyes on referee Peter Banks. I wouldn't like to... I'm thinking we're going to see 5 or 6 minutes displayed here. So we did have a long stoppage for the injury to Ezri Konsa, but now Villa have suddenly found some space going through the middle here as Ollie Watkins plays the ball out towards the left-hand side for Anwar El Ghazi. Back to Watkins. He then plays it square along the edge of the penalty area. It's held up by Douglas Luiz. It goes back towards Matt Targett. Target's ball into the box. It's a high hanging cross, but it's too close to David Raya, who makes a comfortable save in the end. Thought about bowling it out early, but with the game now ticking over 90 minutes, well, I said I expected 5 or 6 minutes. I was out by 2. We're actually going to get 8 minutes of added time at the end of this game. So plenty of time here for either side to still go on and win this match. Doesn't surprise me that we've got quite a lot of injury time, bearing in mind how long the stoppages took, particularly the injury to Ezri Konsa. So the ball now back in play here with Villa in possession down the left-hand side. It's Matt Targett back to Courtney House. Long clearance from him now over the head of El Ghazi, and Azjer, he wanted to head it back to his own goal. To the ball just wouldn't sit up, and in the end Azjer just turns to his goalkeeper before both of them end up giving each other a thumbs up. But you can see that Azjer just a little bit unhappy there, that he thought his goalkeeper was going to come out a bit quicker. Dean Smith now beckoning his players to get a bit further forward. Thomas Frank, and looking a little bit calmer now than he was at the start of the second half. Brentford, I wouldn't say they were hanging on at one stage in the first half, but they were certainly markedly second best in terms of attacking possession. We're hearing that there may be an injury time winner at St James's Park. I'll confirm that in just a second, but in the meantime Brentford on the attack down the left, but a good bit of defending there from Buendia. Not only does he clear the ball out, but he actually deflects it off Rico Henry, so it will be a throw to the home side now, but it's still by their own penalty area. Still got a bit of work to get away from problems here. It is a winner for Newcastle on 92 minutes. Just waiting to confirm who the goal scorer is. It was Callum Wilson that had put Newcastle in front on 55 minutes. Mohamed Elanusi with the equaliser on 74, and we're just waiting to hear who's potentially won the game for Newcastle. And I can say that that goal for Norwich to make it 2-2 was actually disallowed. It was Kenny McLean that had made it 2-2, but it was disallowed. So Norwich potentially staring down the barrel of another defeat here at the start of their Premier League campaign. With that game heading into injury time as we speak. They're about 3 or 4 minutes behind us. But considering we've got 8 minutes of injury time, we've still got 5.5 minutes to play. There's a good chance that they may actually finish before us, as the ball now down the right-hand side, headed away by Ethan Pinnock. It's with Rico Henry. Henry's ball over the top. It bounces all over Courtney House, and he just dwelt on it for a second, which gave half a chance there for Johan Visser to try and chase it down, but in the end it's calmly played back to the goalkeeper and cleared up towards the halfway line. Here is a chance now for Matt Targett. Plays it in short to El Ghazi. El Ghazi does well, spins around Canos, then gets stopped at the edge of the area, and El Ghazi, in trying to win the ball back, has committed a foul, although the reaction from El Ghazi would suggest that he doesn't agree with that decision. Let's see, he tries to get past Norgard, and he's a bit upset with Shandon Baptiste, but El Ghazi's not exactly famous for being completely stoic when players make contact with him, so I think he's got to be fair in that situation. It wasn't a kick out at Baptiste, but it was a trip up, and this game has had 29 fouls between the two teams. Villa shading it 15 fouls to 14. There's a clearance now from goalkeeper Raya down the middle, heading towards the Villa penalty area, headed down by Ivan Toney. But this game has just lost that spark it had in the first half. There was a bit of they're almost going blow for blow at one stage in the first half with chances, or at least attacking possession. But this second half, perhaps with both teams just a little bit more aware of the fact that their opposition can score against them, it just has meant that they've been a little bit more cautious. Brentford in particular. But certainly that's no criticism. I said that after 75 minutes, that if you were to offer Brentford 1-1 now, they would take it. I think they'd probably take 1-1 even before kick-off, although certainly Thomas Frank wouldn't admit to that. I think that there's always a positivity about the way the Bees play. Always looking to try and attack, always trying to get forward. But that style that they've about spoilt their fans within the Championship over the last 3 or 4 seasons, they're only going to see parts of that this season. I think there'll be plenty of games where Brentford will just have to accept that they are a newly promoted team with very limited Premier League experience in terms of their players on the field. So it is going to take a lot of patience here and potentially a couple of drubbings. But they played well this afternoon, I think. They're a value for their 1-1. As it stands, just got to make sure they get to the 3 points over the line. Johan Visser is offside as Raya cleared that ball down the middle. Villa take the free kick short this time. It's over on the left-hand side now with Matt Target. Target's ball just deflects off Sergi Canos and it's out for a throw. Still Villa with a chance now in these final 2.5 minutes of injury time still to play. West Ham Palace is the only 3 o'clock kickoff for game to have finished, and just as I say that, it's all over at the Amex as well. So it's finished. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Everton 2, and West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. Those are those 2 results. Newcastle against Southampton and Norwich against Leicester. They're still playing injury time in those 2 games as we are here at Villa Park. Villa on the attack now down the left hand side, a cross coming in. It's a header from Watkins. It's a header on target. I do wonder, I'm pretty sure he probably would celebrate if he scored against his former team. Perhaps it wouldn't be a sort of huge celebration, but I don't think he'd be putting his hand up to apologise or anything like that, which you sometimes see from a few players who perhaps spent a long time at a certain club and then end up scoring against them. He did well there to jump above 2 Brentford players. He got in between Henry and Pinnock, got his header on target, but the ball ends up with the goalkeeper. It's back now over on the left-hand side here with Ollie Watkins. Watkins' ball in. Over towards the left-hand side. Brentford are able to win possession back, and now the ball is played into the box, and Courtney House there with the clearance. Bit of contact there on Johan Visser. Let's just have a look here. Is there any argument to say he brings Visser down? I'm not so sure. There's so little contact there. But the foot is out, and I'll tell you what, you've seen them given for something similar, but I do think there needs to be more contact there. I'm not sure. I mean, I would be surprised if the referee was still waiting for a VAR confirmation here. Still not seen this throw on. And no, it's not going to be a penalty. I think that is the right decision, but Ethan Pinnock is over to take this throw, and it's right by the penalty area here, right in front of the Brentford travelling fans as well. Pinnock launches this one towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed towards the edge of the area before it's cleared away by Anwar El Ghazi. And now a chance here for Villa to go on the counter-attack as the ball is played between Watkins and Ings. And Watkins is off down the left-hand side. He then plays it square to Danny Ings. Ings is over into the penalty area, takes it onto his left foot, tees it up. And now it's played back towards Watkins, who's still on the left-hand side, into the penalty area. He strikes it at goal. It's on target, but it's too close to David Raya. And he ends up making the save, and that may be it as far as this match is concerned, as we've had pretty much the full 8 minutes of injury time now. We've not really had too many stoppages within injury time, so I wouldn't expect referee Peter Banks to go far over the allotted 8 minutes. We should have a long clearance up in the air there from David Raya, and Peter Banks calls time on this game at Villa Park, and so it's all over. A nice embrace there between Dean Smith and Thomas Frank. But it has finished here at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1. Villa will be a bit more disappointed, I think, as the home side, and seeing more of the ball certainly in that attacking phase in the first half. But Brentford will feel as though they're value for their draw here. Both goals coming inside the first 15 minutes. Ivan Toney on 7 minutes, putting Brentford in front, then Emiliano Buendia equalising for Villa on 13. That's it for this independent off-tube studio commentary. Thank you very much for your company today from myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz. Do join us again soon.